This podcast is owned and operated by the RCR Association, a private third party to the Department of National Defense. The content of this podcast is the responsibility of the RCR Association and does not necessarily reflect the views or policies of the Government of Canada. The official emblems of the regiment are used with the permission of Regimental Headquarters, the RCR. For everybody listening today, we have a very special guest, MWO Kevin White, longtime member of 3RCR. Sir, thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate it.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you're working right now?
Sure. I just finished my year-long French course, which is now a prerequisite in order to get promoted to chief. So I was lucky enough to finish that course with the BBB profile. Now I'm working over at Brigade at the Brigade as the drill sergeant major for the Brigade. It's a new position. I look forward to taking care of that and working through it, see how it goes.
What kind of responsibilities does a DSM kind of cover?
In the Brigade or in a unit?
Can you speak to both? Because you were the DSM at 3RCR.
Yeah, so easiest way to save, so I'll talk about 3RCR in general. So I'm going to take care of all of the building, take care of all the requirements for it, any of the work billets in order to get any of the repairs done, sort that stuff out. And you have your 2IC, which is usually a sergeant that helps you deal with that. And then you also take care of the esprit de corps of the building with all the troops. And then you're responsible for the junior NCOs of the corporals in order to develop them and prepare them for their promotion to master corporal. So you're going to be taking care of all of the junior NCOs in the building itself. And then as the DSM, you're the senior master warrant officer in the building. So you would also mentor all of the sergeant majors in the building to make sure everybody's doing it. And then you know what the aim is of the RSM and what the aim is of the building, where the direction the building wants to move in. And then you're just trying to push that down onto the floor to ensure that all the soldiers are taken care of or going in the right direction.
How did you enjoy being the DSM of the battalion?
Oh, I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why?
I loved it because I think for me, I joined the Army in November '95. And I've watched the Army or the military or the RCR transform over those 30 years. And I've seen it go from the really, really hard times in the 90s, the decade of darkness, as they would call it, to this really, really great experience through the Afghan years where the Army is really supported, and then kind of transitioning back into where it is now, having a hard time and moving through, and a lot of the DEI and people not being really buying in to what the forces was. And then as the DSM, I got to look into things like what is discipline? How do I instill discipline, or can you instill discipline? So then I started looking into is it better to lead by example, or is it better to have discipline? And then I started realizing that they're the same thing, right? Like discipline is me getting up in the morning and going to the gym every morning. Okay, I do that because it's a responsibility and I have to do it. So then when someone's like, well, how do you lead by example? I'm like, well, you have to be self-disciplined, and then you just do your stuff and then people see it. So it's the same thing. And then I was like, how can I teach soldiers? So how can I set the standard, hold them to that standard, instruct them on things, build them up, and then have them buy in, so then I could get the discipline going, that you can get the esprit de corps going, so you could, and I think it's the responsibility, I don't know if responsibility is the right word, the benefit of being in this position in order to influence that change.
Almost like the duty. It's like your duty in a way.
100%, your duty, your responsibility, and I think it's the privilege of doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you work through your career and strive to make it to whatever positions you do or whatever rank you want to. And then when you get to those positions, then you get the ability to influence and affect other soldiers, and you can do bad or good, your choice. But if you want to do good and you want to help people, then once you get to that position when you're able to do it, then you get to see it. Yeah. And you get to see how quickly it changes. And you were here was my time as DSM. I remember I went out on the floor and I just started scraping paint off the floor or tape. And then some master corporal will come up and be like, sir, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, why? It's like, well, you're a sergeant major. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's my building. I'm allowed to clean my house. And then he's like, well, I'll do it. I'm like, well, then you can go get a knife yourself and you can help. And then he helped. And then another corporal came in and like, why are you doing this? He's like, well, he's doing it. So then everybody would start helping, right? It's just that everybody wants to help when somebody else is helping. Everybody wants to do when somebody else is doing. So you get in these positions and then you get to show them. You get to lead by example. You get to show them the discipline, and you get that esprit de corps to come up.
When you say when you talk about that story, it's like discipline, leading by example, two separate things, but they can go hand in hand.
I think they're the exact same thing.
You think so?
I really do.
Yeah.
So I am disciplined. So I go to the gym. I am disciplined. So I show up to work on time. I am disciplined. My uniform's always clean. Okay. So you have discipline. I do all those things. And then when someone's like, well, how do you lead by example? I'm like, well, I show up every day with my uniform clean. I show up every day with my boots polished, well, when they were black. I show up every day and I pass my PT test because I'm fit. So they're literally the same thing. They're not two separate things, that people don't understand that. And then people think that it's punishment when you say the word discipline.
Right.
And I'm like, discipline isn't punishment. Punishment is a tool that you use to help instill discipline. So you have a bunch of stuff that you have to do in the building, your requirements, what your responsibilities are.
Right.
And we set a standard that you have to achieve, which the NCO Corps and the Officer Corps teach people about. Okay, well, if you start failing and not achieving those, I use punishment to correct you so you know where the level is. But once you have self-discipline, you just do it every day.
That's a great way to put it, self-discipline. Because I found that when you join the military, one of the great things that the military gives you exposure to is this external discipline. When your section commander on basic is telling you what to do and making you comply until you start adopting these behaviors and habits, which is being influenced externally until one day you buy into it 100%. And you make it a part of you, and then you get this internal discipline where no one's coming to wake you up. No one's getting you up early before everyone else to go and train before you come to work, or for you to go to class the next day to
100%.
go train again because you just got your ass kicked yesterday, you're sore as fuck, and you don't want to go back. But there's something internal now that is deeper than the external that gets you up. That's and makes you compelled.
Your responsibilities now, right? And it's that understanding that you had that section commander, that master corporal, senior corporals that keep forcing you to do stuff, right? You have that guy that, when I was in the shacks, when I was a young corporal private, some guy would kick the doors, be like, hey, everybody get up. Because everybody was drinking, everybody was having a good time. But that one guy would kick all the doors, everybody would get up, everybody go, everybody do PT. But that's being taught, right? And and if you look at the NCO Corps, we are responsible for teaching everything to everybody. So how do you instill discipline? It's not instilled, it's taught. And then I hold you accountable to the things I've taught you until you're in a position, and then you'll see it as you watch guys progress through the ranks and stuff, and they start getting it. It's part of them. They're like, oh, okay, now pass it on to the next guy.
Did you always value these concepts? Or did you see yourself changing and adopting them later? When I look at myself and my journey from when I started, I always like to say that I was very undeveloped when I joined the military, and it took a while because I was so undeveloped, and it took a lot of failures and shit.
I'm very fortunate that the military taught me and took the patience to continue to correct over time, because I was underdeveloped. I have ADHD. I am dyslexic. My working memory is slow. I recognize this heavy on my French course. So no, I don't think so. I don't think I was capable of comprehending it. If it wasn't for me having those master corporals and sergeants to keep correcting me and fixing the dipshit that I was, I would have been a failure. I really believe that. And I think it's through those understandings and having these people that mentored me and carried me and dragged me along and ensured that you were doing the right thing. And if you got in a little bit of shit, they kind of pulled you along, you know what I mean? And it's over the past 30 years of having that family behind you to take care of you, which this building is a family to me. No, I owe everything to it. I don't think I had those before, and I think they instilled them to me over the last 30 years, and I think I think it's a good thing. And I think the military is a good thing. And I think it's because of that I hold these values now and I'm able to pass them on to other people.
Well said. So you joined in 1995.
November 95, yeah.
Wow. So can you describe what it was like to start your military career in 1995 and like what was it like to show up to 3 RCR at that time? Was it 3 RCR?
No, it was the first light infantry battalion. So the airborne had been disbanded. The Army was in a force reduction plan. The FRP was going on. I applied, and then when I was really young, 16, my mom signed me up, and it took 3 years before I could get in because of the force reduction. And then I got in 95. But again, that time nobody had computers at home. They didn't exist, you know what I mean? Like, nobody had the internet. It wasn't a real thing. Everything had to be done in person. Everything was handwritten.
So what did you know about the Army?
I didn't know anything. So literally I was in high school. I grew up in Ajax, Ontario. And then one day, a reserve unit, I assume, drove an AVGP onto the steps of my school, pointed the cannon at the front doors, you know what I mean? And we're hanging out, and I got to climb on this vehicle and hang out and talk to the guys and see what it was. And I was like, this is fucking great, you know what I mean? And I started recognizing, because I was that dipshit kid, you know what I mean? The structure and the discipline that they had, the way they were interacting with each other, and the way the one guy who was, I didn't know the ranks or anything, but there was clearly one guy that was giving direction and making sure everything's good. And I'm like, I really needed that direction in my life. And I'm like, fuck it. And I was 16. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm joining this. I need the structure. I need someone I was afraid of leaving school and not having any clue what to do with life. So that's how I came to understand what the Army was and my path forward. And then because I hyper-focused, once I decided, I was all in. Yeah.
So when you got to the unit, the regiment, did you go para? Was that something that was in your career?
So there was a airborne holding unit when I got to Petawawa. There was 13 people in Oscar Company at the time, and then my platoon went to November Company, which was another 18 people. That's about what was graduating through battle school at the time. After the course was done, getting Bisley was about 20 people max.
Yeah.
And then they put us in so that we weren't allowed to attend the airborne mess, which was the Carinia Club. We weren't allowed to do it because it was the structure of it was, and the airborne had just been disbanded. We weren't in the RCR. We were in the light infantry holding battalion. And it was just keep up and move forward.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, so what was it like to interface with those guys? Like those I guess ex-commandos at that point?
It was good. And the 1090 battalion, which was the Germany battalion, also came up and they made the other part of the lib too. So it was kind of like we had these airborne instructors and the Germany guys. And then with everything, you have good and bad on both sides, right? Like there was a lot of what I would call shit instructors from Germany and a lot of shit instructors from the airborne. But then there was guys that were just gems. And the same you've had in your career, right? Like you've met all kinds of different type of people and doing your podcasts and different level of understanding and different levels of motivation. And you know what I mean? And depending on where people are in their career, if they're getting out, you know what I mean? So it was all the same.
Yeah. I found people are people.
People are people. People are people. And I have some great memories of people from both sides, whether it was the Germany guy or the airborne guy. I don't think it was any different. The difference is I really like the word why. And I really like when my soldiers ask me why. And that was a big transition to the Army. So like you weren't allowed to ask questions when I got in 95. It was like, shut up. You're a new guy. Sit in the corner. Don't say fucking anything. You'll be told what to do and you can move on. And then about 5 or 10 years after that, soldiers started asking the question why. People started getting really upset. I'm like, well, can you explain it to them? They're like, well, they don't need to know. I'm like, well, they do need to know. If you want them to have buy-in and then you want them to know what the aim is and then you want to know what the goal is of the battalion, you know what I mean? Tell them why.
Sorry, were you at this point in a leadership position at all when you started to
ask why?
Adopt this? Yeah.
No, I was, again, like you were saying, I don't even know why you have me on the podcast, to tell you the truth. I'm not that fucking interesting.
You're very interesting.
I failed basic training. I had to redo that twice, you know what I mean? And then when I finally got here, like I was that kid with ADHD who was always doing weird shit. There was someone always had to keep refocusing me. You know what I mean? No, I was a private for 4 years, and then I was a corporal for 6 years. So by the time I hit master corporal, I already had like 10 years in. You know what I mean?
Right, right. So Was it in your intention to, become a master corporal or deploy overseas? Was any of that like on your agenda for objectives that you wanted to accomplish?
I didn't even understand the movement of the Army. No, I just wanted to get in. Like I understand the Army, you know what I mean? Play with guns, run around the field, be a soldier, do stuff, see the world. That's what I thought, you know what I mean? So like winning, I'll do that. Didn't know the rank structure. Didn't have any clue of who was in charge or what it was. No, what's the word I'm looking for? No goals, no drive to become the leadership. That changed. That changed after, say, 10 years or so. I really started recognizing different types of people, different personalities. Some people really want the best for you, and other people just want to manipulate you for themselves. I think that's the difference between leadership and, because all leadership is manipulation, right? If I can manipulate someone to do what I want for the benefit of you or the benefit of whatever, and get you to buy in, well, that's leadership. But if I do the same techniques, but it's for my benefit, well, then I'm just manipulating, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I started seeing people who I didn't
Were
think
genuine?
some people were genuine, and the other people I didn't think were good. And I'm like, well, I don't want to work for that guy.
Yep.
So that's all it was. And the only reason I started doing a leadership course is like, I don't want to work. And you knew your peers, right? Like going up, so you'd see that corporal, and all of a sudden he's a master corporal. And you're like, yeah, but that guy's a dick. He's not a good leader. So
he doesn't care about us.
That's right. So it wasn't even the guys ahead of me that I was watching and trying to, it was all my peers. And then as soon as one peer would go ahead, who was that guy that I was like, you're a scumbag. You haven't helped anyone. You've been backstabbing. Then I tried to get on the course. And then same thing would happen, that another guy would become a sergeant. I'm like, well, fuck, if that guy's going to be a sergeant, he's a fucking scumbag. I'm going to go and try to do that course too.
You know, it's interesting when you describe it that way, because I would frame it that you saw these characters who didn't have the best interests at heart of the people that would be engaged in whatever you want to call it, whether you're looking at it from an operational context of these troops are going to be going forward into the front lines, into risk, into hardship, or if it's just genuinely your buddies and your friends being looked after in a job that asks a lot sometimes from us. And it has risks in training. And you're like, you typically want people who have like a competency to want to accomplish the task, but at the same time, not at the expense of the people if it's not required. Because I think it's like a balancing act, right? Can we balance taking care of our people and getting the mission done? And it's sometimes a very, very fine dance to accomplish.
See, I think it's an easy dance. Once everybody who's here has bought into the mission already, right? I don't have to convince you of what the mission is. However, I have to convince you that I will take care of you in the mission. I will do. You belong to me. If I'm the sergeant, you're my corporal. You belong to me. You're my fucking tool. I won't let anybody ruin my tools. If someone borrows my tool, I get my tool back cleaned. My tool comes back nice and shiny, and it's not broken. Why would you do that, right? So if I can convince my soldiers that I have nothing but your best interest in mind, I will always do whatever's best for you guys, and we together will accomplish this task. Well, then they're going to buy in. Then they're going to feel secure. Then they're going to do whatever. And then I don't try to tell anyone that they must succeed, because failure is an option. Yeah. Right. But you have to try. And you can tell me anything. It's like, so if I'm like, I'm going to go climb Mount Everest, you can be like, no one's ever done that before. Okay. I don't think you can do it. Okay. Been 50 years and everybody who has ever done it has always been this age. Okay. Can I try? Yes. Okay. Well, then I'm allowed to try. I went on French and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to pass this, but I'm allowed to try. If I'm going to go do the Ironman, well, fuck, you'll never win that. Okay. Maybe I won't, but I can fucking try. Yeah. If I didn't win and I failed, well, then people should still come up to me like, hey, great job, man. I'm really glad you fucking put the effort in. Yeah. Yeah, there is nothing else. It's only effort. It's only effort. But I might fail. Well, then it's really going to suck. And if you put that much effort in, it's going to even hurt more. And your emotions are going to get even stronger and take over because you tried so fucking hard and you failed. But if you put that much effort in, when you do fail, you fail forward. And then when you get back up, it's easier to keep going. You know what I mean? So all soldiers need is the commitment of leadership to have their best interest in heart, to know that it's genuine. I'm going to fucking take care of you. And I don't care if you fail. You're allowed to. but you're going to fucking try. And then when they do fail, you pick them up, you dust them off, you ask them if they're okay. You're like, yeah. I'm like, will you continue trying? They're like, yeah. Then your team works, man. And then you get the esprit de corps. Then you get all the other things clicking. And the Army's missing the understanding of what soldiers want. And soldiers want direction. I need direction. I'm that guy. But so are all my friends. And all my friends are shaved down monkeys. I know this because we're in the infantry and we're capable of doing horrible things for the government. Well, okay, that's what monkeys do, but they want to be taken care of. They want to be protected. They want everybody to know what's good, and they want to be allowed to be that monkey. Okay, so if you come to me, I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? You're like, I want to go and fight at the gym. I'm like, awesome, let's go fight at the gym. Awesome. And then we're going to go in the woods and we're going to go do some crazy hiking and shooting and awesome. We'll do that too. And then we're going to go have drinks and we're going to have a fucking really good time. Awesome. I will take care of you. I'll make that all good. That's not saying that you're allowed to go on the street and be a dipshit and be rude, because you have to be an adult. You have to be professional and you have to, but you learn that as you grow up. 20-year-olds can't do that. So I need the 20-year-old to learn to smash things and kick in a door and kill everybody in the room and carry on. Okay, well, that's really hard to learn when you are 20, and it's even harder to learn at that age all of the other parts of being a sound human in society when that's your other side of your job. You know what I mean? They're going to make mistakes. A 23-year-old isn't developed all the way through. They don't know how to control all their emotions yet. And then I'm going to give them machine guns, kick in doors, throw explosions at them, have people done up so they look like they're missing legs and stuff, and we're going to have fun and cheer on it, which we expect them to do. And then when they go and they have a little bit too much to drink and they get in shit or whatever it is, then we dump on them. Well, that's not showing my support for them. That's not me showing to pick them back up, because they're going to make these mistakes. Okay, take care of that guy.
I love that concept of like what you just mentioned of picking the guy back up. You know, a mentor of mine also said that to me one time too. He's like, Manny, like, I'm here for you, man. And like, I will not only vouch for you because of whatever I was getting into, but I'll pick you back up when you fall. And like, when he said that to me, no one's ever said that to me, but it really registered in my head. I'm like, that is mentorship. That is leadership. You're taking responsibility for the success and the failure of that young person right there. And how it made me feel, you know, I'm like, I would cross the line of departure anywhere under any circumstances with that man, for that man.
Yeah, because he'll take care of you.
Yeah, because he'll take care of you.
100%.
Not only will he give me an opportunity to have purpose and feel like I belong, but he'll take care of me, which is fundamental, I think, to a human being.
I think so. I think and again, people join the Army from all different. When I first joined, I kind of assumed that everybody came from like a broken home, maybe a single parent or poor kids. You know what I mean? Kind of like that. Everybody kind of came from the same house that I did. You know what I mean? It's not true, because there's some guys in the Army that are millionaires that are just walking through the ranks that you just wouldn't know, and their parents are billionaires with. You know what I mean? Because I have friends that are that. So what is it that we're joining for? And it's for that team and that camaraderie and the devotion and the person who is going to pick you up. And you know what I mean? Like, there is nothing, you can't find friends. I can't, sorry. I don't think you're capable of having the types of friends in the world like the friends that you make through the hardships of the Army.
Yeah.
And the hardships of the Army never stop. It's not like, oh, I went on a mission. The mission was hard. You're like, no. Coming home and trying to rekindle your relationship with your family. Well, that's even harder. And that's like another 6 months of pain. And then your one buddy died. Okay, well, that's terrible. And you have to work through that again. And then you have another deployment. Then you have IR separation. Then you have kids. And then you have, you know what I mean? That the Army is a nonstop mash of hardships for your whole career. And when you have those friends that have carried you through that for your whole career, that's what we want.
Yeah.
And that's what you see, you know what I mean? And then when you're talking about why did you try to get promoted? Because, well, my friends have all been carrying me. My friends have all been holding me up. And then you get this one guy that's not taking care of his friends, and that's not the leadership you want. No, what do I want in the Army? I want that core, that family, that group of people that will take care of me even when I am a little bit of a dipshit. It's okay, I'll take care of you. I'm not saying that we're not going to punish you, because we will. We have to. That's part of that's part of the discipline, right? And making sure that you hold standard that you do. But we have to teach all that.
Yeah.
And I think what we're missing in the Army right now is we're not teaching soldiers. We're not taking care of soldiers. We're not holding our people and helping them up. We seem to be punishing and pushing everybody aside.
I think that's well said. I think you're the right guest to have on the podcast. Like, these are very important things, you know. Like, we had a town hall like a month ago, and I don't want to go too deep into it because a lot of folks were there, and I said some shit, and there was like some high ranking people there, and but the point of all what I'm trying to say is, like, what really bothered me in this town hall is everyone was just fixated on money. And granted, it's important. You gotta pay the bills. Feelings don't feed babies. I get it. You gotta put food on the table. But what we do in the military, this is something that is beyond just like economics and money. You know, like I have to argue that it is something important for us to consider to make a living wage. But I'd argue that most people I would imagine, have not joined the military for the money. And those who have, I think they're in the wrong career, because when we're asked to go and do the pinnacle of what we're here to do, and as a British Army commander said very well, you measure an army's capacity by its capacity to warfight, or you measure an army's effectiveness by its capacity to warfight. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you consider that, and then you hear about people complain that money is on like their forefront of their mind, it just makes me unsettled. Because when I stood up and I spoke in this town hall, I had to say that when I first joined the military back in 2010, that's when I enrolled, swore in, started BMQ. It was very clear what the military was here to do. My instructors made it very clear what we were here to do. We were unified by purpose. There was a sense of meaning in everything that we were doing. There was a sense of investment that the instructors had in my success and failure during the training process, because we were still doing remembrance ceremonies during my DP1 in the middle of the field when guys were getting killed overseas. Like, it was very apparent that all of the things that we're here to do are important, and we need to pay attention. We need to take it seriously. And if you don't, not only are you going to let someone down, you'll get them killed. And to be in a dynamic, in a dichotomy where like family is how we perceive infantry unit cohesion. Fuck, man, you want to let your brother get killed, your sister get killed? Fuck no, I don't want to be the guy to have to live with that. One thing to carry the body, but another thing to live with that weight for the rest of your life.
100%.
You're like, you don't want to let the team down. It's such a deep level.
And the people don't think about how much money do I actually need?
Yeah.
Right? And like, what makes it think that you're not making enough money? Or why are you just not living in your means?
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't know the exact number. I was watching... where let's say it's $100,000, but as soon as you make $100,000 a year, well, then you have enough money, and money's not going to make you any more happy. Like, you already have a car, and your car works, and you can get to work, and you can do your travel in your car.
You got a roof over your head.
Yeah, so you don't need a Ferrari. Like, it's just a car. You know what I mean? Like, so the argument of money, I think it's misplaced. And people do need money. We need to figure out the housing. We have to make sure that there's bases and postings, and I can't take away from that. That's crazy. You can't take a person from Petawawa, move them to Toronto with their family, and then it ends up costing them another $2,000 a month just to live separated from their family. It's crazy. So
100%.
And I'm not smart enough to solve that problem. But no, money's not the reason. And I also won't commission. Like, I would never go to officer, because I didn't join to be the officer. I like officers. I really do. They're great. But I'm not commissioning up just for money.
Yeah.
All right. That's not the job I want. I want to be an NCO, and I'm not an officer, and recognize the difference. That's also why I have a little bit of a hard time with the need for people doing extra university credits and stuff. It's good for the ILP, the ALP, the SLP to get educated. And I've watched the Army educate the senior NCOs. And I think we're way better now in the Army we are in than what the Army I joined. I think we're in a better Army. I really do. The NCOs are much better and much more educated, and are capable to communicate better with the officer corps. But if you only get me doing those courses, then there's no yin and yang. You know what I mean? Like,
can you tell us about this, like yin and yang? What do you mean?
Yeah, so I think, and again, this is the opinion of me, which is not very fucking sound, I guess.
We're talking about 30 years of experience here, though.
So I would say you have an officer. To become an officer, they go through university first. So they've learned in university how to learn. So they don't care what your degree is in, but you know how to find information, you know how to process information, you know how to listen to someone and take their information and regurgitate it to someone else. And you've learned all this through your 4 years. So it's a big deal. The NCO has to learn through his experiences of what it is. You know what I mean? And then the officers end up doing less time in a battalion. And then they get here, they'll do their platoon commander job. Usually they'll move out, come back, do the 2IC job, move out, come back, do an OC job, if they're lucky. Then the next time after that, they'll go up and be a CO. You know what I mean? So in the battalion, they get maybe 8 or 10 years of time in a battalion by the time they get to CO. Well, if you're going to stay as an MWO in battalion, well, you'll be here for 30 years and you'll be in all the exercises, you'll be in all this stuff, and you get all this experience, but you haven't gone to university. You're not really that great at the paperwork of stuff. But then you have the yin and yang. So I'm always with the troops. I got the esprit de corps of the battalion. I have the culture of the environment that I'm in, and I have this. So when the boss comes up with something, I can listen to him and his opinions. I can also talk to the soldiers and I can give feedback on it, and I can give him direction because I have the other side of the whole, the yin and yang, you know what I mean? Whereas if I didn't do any advanced courses, every time I was in battalion, I just kept leaving to go do courses and university courses and doing whatever. Well, then, and you're not doing your advanced courses and your pathfinders and your snipers and your free fall and what are you providing?
Right.
And then it's likely that you have the same opinion as your officer that you're being partnered with. I don't want the person to have the same opinion. I don't want to be in an echo chamber when I'm coming up with decisions for something. I don't want someone to say something and then the next guy be like, I agree with him. And I'm like, what do you think? Oh, I agree with him too. Like, holy fuck, don't you have your own opinion? I want someone to give back. The officer's correct. He will be, doesn't mean he's correct. I'll sit in an office with him. I'll sit in the closed doors. He can come with his discussion. And if I disagree with it, we're going to have a discussion on it. And I'm going to give him my side. I'm going to see what the troops want. I'll give you what I believe is the counter to your argument. Then he will make a decision, and then we will leave and we'll go along with his decision. But he's going to hear it. And it's not going to be an echo chamber where he's like, I think this. I'm like, me too. No, I want the different opinion. I want it because of the two different upbringings, right? And the two different upbringings, and you put the two of them together, you should get better results from it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, everyone has their own way of describing that relationship dynamic between the officer and the NCO, and it's so critical to bridge them together. And I find that relationship dynamic between that junior LT and that warrant officer in the platoon is so important because of the amount of mentorship that comes. And I find that the NCOs and the NCMs are the continuity piece. Like, the officers will come and they'll carry on with their progression, but a lot of the times the NCMs and the NCOs will be pretty much in that battalion, in that company for a long 100%. Period of time. I find that right now when it comes to Para Company and Oscar Company and the other units I've worked with.
Culture, right?
The
NCOs
culture.
Are the culture.
Yeah.
But
the backbone I'd argue.
Of it, I agree with that. But we have to understand that the officers are the only ones in charge.
Yeah.
They are in charge. They are the leaders of.
They accept liability.
They own all the responsibility. They own everything.
Yeah.
And the only rank that actually has command in it for us is section commander.
Right.
Right. Everything else isn't. In section commander, you will take over. You can take over the fight. You can, and like you were saying, if you're leading it on the battlefield, that's the only spot that's commander. The rest of us are only support.
Right.
Right. I support my officers. I work with my officers, and you should. And I think the NCO Corps sometimes thinks that we're in charge, and we're not. We're not in charge. We have a role to play. Know your fucking role. You're the other side of the yin and yang. You know what I mean? And if we understand our role and we do what we're supposed to, we take care of our troops, we take care of our fucking family, and basically we're the mother of the, like, you know what I mean? We're not the dads. We're the moms. I'm the one that takes care of the kids.
Yeah.
I'm the one back there that's wiping their noses and preparing them for school and getting them ready. And the officers are the ones that are doing all the planning and getting it ready. When they come up with an idea, they give me the idea. I go back, talk to you guys. We get everything good to go. We come back, we hand it to them like, hey, we're ready. I'm like, hey, let's go. And then they lead. we're not in charge, but we without us, nothing gets done.
That's well said.
You know what I mean?
There's so much to talk about in so little time. So I do want to ask you something. This is now going on a new topic. You know, when you walk the halls in this building, whether you're in this room or you're upstairs heading into the orderly room, there are photos of the shooting competition team in Bisley.
Oh, 100%.
Can you tell us about Bisley, what that is, what that was?
Yeah, that was a good time. That was a long time ago. And again, there's shoot, move, communicate, medicate, right? Like that's some of the core fundamentals of being in the military. I apologize. Core fundamentals of being in the military, right? So shooting in Connaught Ranges was just a big competition. So when I first got in...
Is this calf sack or sit sack we're talking about?
Right.
For anybody listening right now, if I'm not mistaken, Canadian Forces or Canadian Armed Forces shooting... what's the sack? Small arms competition?
Yeah,
okay.
It's been a long time since I did it. My buddy Travis, me and my buddy Travis Reb, after we joined, we got in. Gary DeRoche was our section commander. He was big into it. Travis's dad was an 8 times Queen's medalist, and they just pulled us onto the team. And then
from the RCR,
from the RCR, wow. Yeah. And then we did a bunch of competitions over a few years. You know, I mean, did really well, I guess. And then Travis's dad came up to instruct the team and bring his vast knowledge of everything shooting, everything gun, everything. The man's just a wizard, you know what I mean?
What's his last name?
Surratt.
Surratt.
Yeah, Ron Surratt. Travis Surratt's his son. He's a MWO in the RCR as well. And just phenoms with rifles, yeah. And then in 99, he led the team. And then we won everything at CivSec. Got the ability to go as the major portion of the team to Bisley in England, which you live on the grounds there, and it's a major competition with the British and the Omanis. I can't even tell you the amount of countries out of there. And then in 2000, because you'll see the pictures on the wall, with the tutelage of Ron and the different instructors, we did the best a team's ever done in like 120 years.
Wow,
and, it was really good.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, I got a Army commendation for that one.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was really good.
It's cool because...
But again, those are things that we need to do still, right?
Yeah.
Like troops like to do the war fighting stuff, and troops love to do the hard soldiering, and troops like to do the courses. But there's still like the competition and the fun and the to go on a team or something for a few months. But that's all been cut out now, you know what I mean? Yeah, we need that back. We need that back to get guys into the... Like you were saying, it's not about just the money. Like it's about the experience.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about what you were saying, and to reference this to the shooting competition stuff, because I went on that, but I needed to do it, right? I needed that experience. I needed to go there. I remember talking with my wife and like, yeah, it's good. And then now my wife just got WFC chief, and she's overseas right now, actually on deployment. But it wasn't for the money. She's like, and when we were talking about this, she's like, I need to do this. I need to fulfill this piece and get out there and do this job, right? So I'm hoping with you doing this podcast and all these other things that more people in the Army will start recognizing that it's the lifestyle and the different the lifestyle and the different what's the word I'm looking for opportunities that are available to you through the military, right? And hopefully they start bringing some of those back, like the opportunity to go to England, hang out with a bunch of different militaries, talk on a very specific ideal of shooting and getting all the different ideas and then competing against them and then hanging out with them and having drinks and barbecues and getting that esprit de corps with the different types, you know what I mean? We need that back so that people have a reason to share these stories and talk about being in the military and the things that they got to do, right?
When you say things like this, it's like, I think we can get lost in the work side of things at work. You know what I mean? We get lost in the duty, the work side, and we forget to live. And like things like, I think when you talk about CAVSAC and Bisley, that's a way for a soldier to live while he's in service.
We did it before I went on French. Kev Walker, because he's the DSM now, he was like, we need to bring back the Hill 187 competition. It'd been something that we hadn't done. So then we got Ibby, and Ibby started playing it out, and we got all the guys in, we got the maintainers in, and we're like, hey, it doesn't matter, fellas, if you're good or not. Just go do this competition, you know what I mean? Get out in the esprit de corps and the vibe in the building and try to beat each other. It's okay to have competition. And then the maintainer team came back and they came in third. They almost won the fucking thing.
That's incredible.
You know what I mean? It was really
That's
good.
incredible. For anybody listening, when we say maintainer team, those are like our technicians,
100%.
our EO techs, our weapons techs, our vehicle techs, all the techs.
And they were crushing against all the fucking hard charges here.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's 3RCR.
That's it. Yeah. But and again, they all loved it, right? And they tried to get it on this year, but it keeps falling off because things come into place. But those are the things that people remember. I know they put a poster up down their lines. Like, we did this, right? Like, they want that competition. They want that drive. They want the other things. And I think we're losing that with the amount of deployments and everything that we have going on. Guys aren't able to do the other enjoyable things in the Army that are part of training and esprit de corps and the team building piece.
It's like we need to put a lot of effort into what we do here, but we also need to recharge that tank.
Yes.
And I think doing things like these skills competitions, shooting competitions, or whatever creative ideas we come up with, it's a way to exercise our potential that's not just associated with courses and deployments, because that's something that we need to put our energy into. But how do we like recharge that? And it's not just on leave. That's important too. It's not just spending time with your family. That's important too. But we also need to look at what we do here, because it's lifestyle, right? It's not just a job.
100%.
Right? It's not just a career. It's more than that.
How do we get people to buy into it, right?
Yeah.
And I've been having conversations with people. How do you, in this day and age, because you can't really, if I just start disciplining people.
Yeah. Like imposing it on them.
Imposing and punishing, right? And really correcting people. People take it very personally now. And they will end up getting stress leave, or they will end up going to a higher chain. And like I wouldn't feel comfortable now on base to correct someone up just on the street that I'd see doing something wrong, because that's not my soldier, and I would feel that it would come down through the chain, like, hey, why are you yelling at this soldier here? And then it would almost be like, are you trying to intimidate him or something? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems weird.
That's where we're at now.
I know how silly that sounds. So, but that's what we're missing. So now I don't correct people on being soldiers anymore. So my new question that I started asking people, like, if I'm going to form up, say I was to form up the battalion right now and I wanted to start talking, I would pose the question, like, is there anybody here who isn't an adult? Is everybody okay if I talk to you like adults? And everybody would say yes, because nobody wants to be talked to as a child. Mm-hmm. And then I would ask them, like, okay, what are the responsibilities of an adult? And people would say things like, I show up to work on time. I'm like, oh, fuck, well done. Yes, adults do that. I pay my bills. Holy fuck, yes, adults do that. I don't drink and drive. Winning. These are all things that fucking adults should do. So then I'm like, does everybody agree that we can hold you up to this standard? You will show up to work. You will put effort in. You won't drink and drive. Yes. Okay. Then I don't need to treat you like a soldier. I'll treat you like a fucking adult. And I don't want, and the piece that we're missing for the NCO Corps specifically, I think, is, like you were saying, like, you were slow to develop. I was. They weren't teaching me to be a fucking soldier. That's the easy part. They were teaching me to be a human. They're teaching me to be an adult. They're teaching me to be a good person.
Yes.
And then when we give you the ethos and the ethics, and we hold you accountable to those, and I'm like, you will be a fucking good human. You will show up on time. You will be a fucking adult. You will try. Okay, that's all I'm teaching. I don't give a fuck if you're a good soldier or not.
Yeah. It's like we're learning and we're offering an opportunity for us to develop our identity. That's right. Of like who we are, and being a good human being, being a good soldier, and whatever else kind of things you want to describe yourself to be as your identity. I think it's important. And how do we go about it? Man, Colin Downey?
Yep.
Man, I'll never forget what he said to me one time. And this was like probably how it all started for me, like this stuff and the other thing I was doing with the podcasting at 1RCR. We were in Kuwait, and he was going home from Iraq. And I just got there, right? And I'm like, fuck, man, this is my first tour. And I've been there for like maybe 4 weeks. I was the camp sergeant, right? And, that job is not what I anticipated doing when I joined up in 2010 to join the infantry battalions, right? But here I am at an operational support hub in the Middle East. Important job. It was a good tour at the end of it. It was great. I learned a lot of things. But when I was over there in the beginning, I was struggling, right? Because I'm like, this is not what I imagined myself doing. I'm having like a conflict in my identity right now. I'm like all fucked up, right? And it's just like, this is not what I imagined for purpose, right? And so it was an interesting conversation we had, because it was like, listen, man, you can't wait for someone to hand you purpose.
No.
Sometimes you got to go out there and you got to make it. And you got to give yourself or make your own opportunity for purpose.
100%.
And I find that as a leader, we got to give our troops an opportunity to challenge themselves. And it's on us to hopefully inspire them, influence them, hopefully in a positive way. But shit, if you got to use negative, sometimes I still think that could be a play in the playbook, right?
Absolutely,
if you have to. But it's giving them an opportunity. So I'm in DFS right now, and we were talking about how do we build up the platoon before we go to Alaska for JPMRC, and we're like, okay, well, how do you guys want to build the platoon? And they're like, we want to get this guy from my company, this guy from my company, this guy from over there.
Yep.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, what they don't understand, but what I know is that my company is going to be part of the main effort when we go there, and so are we, right?
That's right.
And so I'm like, we might not be able to get the guys you want from over there. So where's another demographic we can pull from? And they're just like thinking. And I'm like, yo, guys, I'm going to propose this. And now everybody gets all happy about this one, but the reserves. And they're like, fuck, man. I'm like, yeah, dude, but hear me out. If we invite them to come up here and we give them an opportunity to come train with us, this is an opportunity for us to mentor them. This is an opportunity for us to maybe develop them and see if there's a few of them that really could work with us.
I've never had any difference between any reserve corporal, private, on any tour than any Reg Force soldier.
Me neither.
Because by the time they come here, so there is a difference for the training. There's a whole bunch of differences. But when you take that young corporal private, put him into a section, he works with us for a few months, and then you can't even tell.
Yeah, he's one of us now.
100%. It's always a good point.
Yep.
And then it gives them the experience, and it gets them back. I think we should incorporate them in and get them into the training and do it up, and it builds up our numbers. I think it's a great idea.
I don't think we do it enough, and then that's why there's a lot of this kind of divide.
Right.
And for those that don't have the experience, you're gonna have a prejudice. But those of us who do, like when I was overseas in England, an op unifier, half my section under me in CQ were reservists, and they were great guys because they wanted to be there. They wanted to belong. They wanted to be part of the unit, the team. They wanted to do whatever it took.
That's right.
To be part of the team.
Willing to learn.
Willing to learn.
I'll take anybody all day long.
100%.
Are you willing to learn? Or are you willing to try?
100%.
I'm in. I'll take that guy all day long. You know what I mean? It's like having the best player on the team that's a jerk off. Okay, I don't want him.
Yeah.
Like, go away.
I don't care what your resume is.
I'm saying your bench.
You have a bad character.
That's right. I want the dudes that are going to try. I want the person that's in. I want the guy that's a good human. I want the guy that will, even if you're terrible, but you're always helping your friends. I'm in. I'll take that guy all day long.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the team will just carry that guy. And then you're like, oh, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Yeah, but that weak link is the guy that's supporting everybody else. He's not weak. You're just missing the point. You know what I mean? I remember I won't say the names of the people, but I had a buddy. We had a warrant. Went overseas. The lab sergeant at the time didn't think it was a very good warrant for a platoon warrant. Incident happened, had to change around, and then that same warrant became the CQ. And my buddy's like, that guy was the world's greatest CQ. Hands down, better than any other CQ I've ever done. That's a senior warrant position, but as a platoon warrant, he wasn't the best. So the point isn't to fire people or get rid of them. The point is to find the position that guy's good in,
right,
and then get him into it, and then like, awesome, go there. And I won't forget that now. So every time I work with a person, like, can you use this guy? I'm like, maybe. Yeah, come here, I'll fucking talk to you. How are you? And then if they're good and they're willing to try and they're willing to do it, fucking put them in this position. Fuck, he can do something. You know what I mean? Because I'm positive I was that guy. I was that young dipshit private that wasn't able to focus on anything.
Yep.
And the sergeant was like, yeah, but he's a good dude. Come here, Whitey. And then they just go over here, little fella. Give me a little pat on the head and like, carry on. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, oh, on. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. And like, it takes these NCOs And I argue it's the NCO, the mother, you know?
That's it.
To look after us and pick us up when we fall and dust us off.
right.
And you know what? Give us sometimes a little motivation, pat on the back and get us back in the game.
And everybody's been smacked by their mom too, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like it happens, but that's what the NCO Corps is. Yeah. And I think for me, all I want to do is I want to teach, I want to instruct, I want to develop, I want to make good humans. I want to make good adults. Because especially if you look at the different ranks of the NCOs, I believe that it's the sergeant major responsibility to mentor the person on humanity. I don't know if that's the right word, but like your life, your balance, how you interact with your family, how you communicate with your family and your kids, what it is that you're teaching to them,
like the life skills,
100%, right? And then you go down, and the warrant kind of starts there too. So like the warrant sergeant major, but below that, then it's like the section commander's like making the sergeant, or he's making the soldier, like that's his job. The master corporal is the guy that's like taking the snot-nosed kid and be like, grow up. And you can see the different pieces if you look at the different ranks, like master corporal, okay, make that kid not a snot-nosed kid, make him toughen him up, make him hard, get him doing more PT, run the guts out of him, make him throw up, whatever, keep going. I'm talking infantry now, right? But and then it'll get to the sergeant, and then the sergeant's like, no, where's your skills? Then he'll start teaching classes, and then he'll start getting that stuff, you know what I mean? And then all we're doing is building humans. We're making good humans who can function in society, work in a group environment, and help each other out.
That's well said.
If we get back to that, everything will be fine.
You know what I think describes that in a nutshell? It takes a village to build an NCO.
Absolutely.
It takes a village. It takes a village of NCOs and officers, because the officers have a lot to give us to teach. And when it comes down to it, and when the casualties get real bad, we will have to know what they do so we can take over.
That's it.
You know, and it's happened in history. And you know, unfortunately, if things get bad again, it'll happen again. But definitely it takes a village, and what you're describing is like this tribe, this village of community of leaders, and everyone's got a job to do, and everyone's got something to give. Whether you are a senior private, you got some responsibility right there. You want to know something? So when I was in Kuwait, I read an article. It was a paper that you wrote. It was your paper about the role of the sergeant major in the contemporary army.
Yeah, but that paper was, so I wrote that paper when I was in Jordan in order to find out if what I thought about my job was correct. And then I sent it out to my peers and a few chiefs and stuff to find out if they could give me feedback and be like, tell me I was stupid. Or
yeah, you got any merit to this idea?
Yeah. Like, is this good? Yeah, that's why I wrote that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when I read that, I was blown away, and I'm like, you're onto something right here. And I absolutely agree. I think that society has evolved. So does the infantry battalion need to too.
Absolutely.
And I think what you were onto was so important. And I think what you were describing is getting neglected today about that dichotomy of relationship building, because we know having a relationship between the military and the public is so important.
Yep.
Public trust.
Absolutely.
So why is that any different between the soldier and the family, and the sergeant major and the family, especially when we're talking about rear party, right? Like troops are deployed overseas. What obligation does the battalion have to look after the family when they're at home? I've heard of great examples. You know, I've heard of people being overseas, and I've heard of people even being back home and being diagnosed with terrible terrible medical problems, and the sergeant major going out of their way to make sure that guy's family, while he is, let's just say, incapacitated, if you will, their driveway's being shoveled.
100%.
That they're not been forgotten.
Yep.
You know, like shit like that, you know, and I'm doing a horrible job of describing it right now, and it makes me sometimes emotional, because it makes your heart feel whole when you know how much we can do for our troops.
Absolutely.
And it kind of breaks your heart at the same time when you're like, why aren't we doing that all the time sometimes? But that paper really resonated with me, sir. And I wish we could just publish it, because even if half the military doesn't agree with you, I think there are people that do.
Well, there's a lot of my peers were very supportive of the ideas and the things I wrote in it, and the part of trying to understand the different types of people and how to interact with them, and talk whether you're introverted or extroverted or intrinsic or extrinsic, and the types of motivation that you want. Because as we start building our family in the unit, and you start taking on more and more people, well, how do I have a discussion in a room with 150 people and get my point across, and then give them time to process and give back questions and answer and interact and not feel left out, you know what I mean? And if you don't understand those things, then how do you build your family up, you know what I mean? So I think the feedback was good, the understanding was good. I'm willing to anybody who wants that paper to send it off, but I don't think it'll get published. It's not, my grammar isn't.
Did you go to university?
No.
See, like, yo, listen, the fact that you didn't go to university right there speaks to your character as a leader. Like the effort that you're putting in and just trying, like we talked about before, of trying to communicate your idea to the best of your ability, it worked.
I think it's I was listening to Jordan Peterson. He was like, if you want to learn how to think, you have to write your words down on paper, because you can put your thoughts in order, and then you can see them. And then, so when I remember when I wrote my first thing, I was like, fuck, I'm stupid. And because I'm dyslexic and I have ADHD, I can't spell anyway. But I couldn't even get my thoughts in the right order. And then I had a really good officer, Nathan Richards was overseas at the time when I was trying to write the paper. And he's like, no, he's like, redo that. And then it helped me learn to think. You know what I mean? So the reason I started was because I think we all have the same IQ, right? Roughly, you know what I mean? It's not like anybody's here's Mensa. You're all in the battalion. Like there might be a couple of officers that are really intelligent, but for the most part, you're all roughly the same. Yeah. Awesome. But have you learned to think, right? Have you learned to think linearly, like mathematically? And then they try to teach you to think critically. So I know like your problem, my problem, the in-between of the problem. How did my actions resolve to your actions? You know what I mean? Learn to think about like language, because language is different. So whether you're talking learning French or I'm going to learn music has its own language. If I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu has its own language, right? So then they keep teaching you how different ways to think. So it's not so much your education and what your ability is academically. It's have you learned to think, and can you put the effort forward? My wife, God bless her, she's such a wonderful woman, but she's like the best thing about me. She's like, you're never afraid to suck at anything. And I'm like, yeah, the Army just taught me to try it, go. Like you're probably gonna suck at everything anyway. Everybody sucks at everything new, but are you afraid to try? You know what I mean? And once you get past that, like, can you write? No, I can't even spell. Well, I'm gonna write a paper anyway. Go ahead. Someone will tell you it sucks, maybe, but 10 people are gonna tell me it's good. You know what I mean? Just don't be afraid to suck. Get in on it. You know what I mean?
I think you are the right person to have on this podcast. Honestly, this has been a privilege for me, sir. Like, you're one of the first people I've ever interfaced with. When I came to Petawawa, I came here. I was a reservist. You know, I'm one of those guys that came from the other side. And when I got here in 2019, the first day I got here, I knew there was a Petawawa Jiu-Jitsu club. So it was 2019. It was like March 25th, whatever my travel day was. So I brought my gi down. I showed up. There you were. I think you were a brown belt at the time. And, I could tell when you look at a man, you're like, okay, that guy's a senior person, right? But you're like, hey, I'm Kev, right? And I'm like, okay, sir. And then, carry on with the class. But, from my first interaction with you and where we're at today, sir, like, you're somebody I admire. You're somebody that so many of my troops admire. Like, when I went on Unifier, I have a mixed mash crew of a bunch of different people. And, some of these guys got to serve with you in Para Company and JRTC in Louisiana, and good things to say. And man, just the impact you've had on them, like the amount of dedication that you have to caring for your troops is on a level that needs to be the standard, I'd argue, because you're so right about the why needs to be there. When you explain things to your troops, you need to make them feel like they belong. You need to give them opportunities to challenge themselves and fail. And when they fail, you're there to pick them up and to motivate them and to remind them that if you don't try and you don't fail, you will never know what it's like to succeed.
100%.
And, this conversation, this whole podcast keeps reminding me of this Theodore Roosevelt quote. Have you heard of it? The Man in the Arena?
No.
Yo, Liam, can you pull that up on your phone right now? The Man in the Arena. When I was at 1RCR, if you do the Iron Warrior at 1RCR, we get a glass plaque. Only the first time you do it. After that, you don't get it again. But I remember in 2019 when I showed up there, Warrant Officer Donnie Simpson at the time, we were on the floods and they were talking about Oplentis, and they were talking about Iron Warrior. Iron Man's going to stand up and 1RCR is going to win it this year, right? And they were talking about this. And do you have it right here? Okay. Yeah, if you can pull it up, because I would love to cite it, because like a lot of the things you're saying from your experiences, Theodore Roosevelt said it, and it's an incredible quote, because on this glass plaque that we get after you complete the Iron Warrior, it says it on there. I have it at home, and it's a beautiful quote, and it speaks to the character of, like, I don't even want to say soldier or warrior, but it just speaks to the heart of a man or a woman
100%.
that isn't afraid to fail.
There's also like, I mean, I do talk about supporting and caring and picking up and helping, but there's a limit to it, right? Like once someone doesn't, soldiers need to understand that, like, they have to give back.
Yeah.
Like, I pay you. Like, what does the Army give me? I'm like, I don't know, all of your fucking money?
Yeah.
Like, what do you give back? So, like, I'm trying to teach my kid at home, like, his responsibilities. My son's be turning 18 this year. His room is his responsibility. His bathroom is his responsibility. His laundry is his responsibility. Those are all things that he has to do. I'm like, hey, but what's the extras you're doing for me in the house? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, you're not cooking any food. I'm like, you're not cleaning up the living areas, like the common areas. I'm like, you're not mowing the fucking lawn. Where are the extras? Right? And trying to give that back. And you have to instill that into soldiers too. Like, you have to give extra. Like, I pay you and you're good, but like, why aren't you helping and contributing to your fucking family?
Yes.
And when you convince them of that and you're like, I will help you, I will hold you, I will carry you, I will pick you up, you have to do the same for me. You have to fucking help me. And you have to make sure that's in. And then if they're not doing that and you've given them the third, the fourth fucking try, I will kick you out.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be here. And if you're going to be a
There's
scumbag,
no free rides here.
No, fuck off.
And we ain't looking for the minimum.
That's
because
right.
like, there's doing your job,
100%.
and then there's you. Like, I don't know how to describe it right now, but there's doing what's expected of you, which is like your job.
Bare minimum.
Which is the bare minimum. So like, people want to come and thank you for like taking out the garbage, but like, that's what I'm supposed to do.
That's right.
Like, don't thank me for shit that I'm supposed to do. Like, Chris Rock has a whole bit on this where he's like, motherfuckers want to be thanked for shit they supposed to do. Like, I take care of my kids. That's what you're supposed to do.
100%.
Right? So, you know, and it's like, you're right. And I had a buddy, and he's still a good buddy of mine, actually. He's one of somebody who inspired me to want to go for selection, go for CSOR. And he was a CSOR operator. And what he said to me, because he used to come to my old reserve unit, for Remembrance Days. And I'm like, man, why do you come here? Like, why do you still come back here, man? Like, you're so, like, you're fucking this guy, bro, right? And he's like, because I don't want to forget where I come from. And it's like, I want to come back here, and if me being here is good for you guys, then it's important for me to this is a way where I can kind of help the regiment kind of give back by just being here and walking the parade with you, because I don't have to be here, but I want to be here.
Yeah.
So I drove all the way down here. And that's like a simple way of going about it, but there's so many other things. And I find that you being here is going out of your way to demonstrate like how much you're involved in our community of the regiment. Like, sharing this.
I love the regiment. I love the Army. I really do. It's given me everything. And what I'm trying to learn now, and I've been talking to a lot of people, right? Because truly, we're only a number. I have the issue your number when you join. Here's your service number. Yeah. All the things I've said about the family is true until you're no longer in.
Right.
Right? Because the institution, it's an army.
Yep.
Like, it has to keep moving. I will be forgotten in this building in the next few years, but I could walk in and people are like, who the fuck's that guy? I just spent 25 years in this building, but I'll be nothing. And that loss, and people start to think that the Army really didn't care for me. Well, no, they did. They still do. And it's those guys that keep coming back. He's like, I don't want to forget where I came from, or I will keep coming back, or I will link in with my friends, and they've given you that community. It's just that once you leave the regiment or you get out of the Army, well, they have to carry the fuck on. Yeah. And people think they're entitled to more because we give so much of ourselves to the military, and it's so ingrained in us, and it's part of our person, you know what I mean? Like, I am a soldier. Yeah. That's who I am. So when I get out, we get that extreme loss and we lose our identity. And then some people have it too. Like, I've been walking around and everybody's been calling me sir for 10 years. And then all of a sudden I get out and it's like, hey, Kev. Like, no, I'm Master Warrant Officer Kevin White. No, you were, buds. Carry the fuck on. You know what I mean? So they have to recognize that too. And it's not bullshit that when someone says it's a family and we love each other and it's true. But you will lose it. and it's only your small friends and stuff. But you have to understand that piece as you're going through the army too, right?
Yeah, and there's like expressions that exist. Like there's a Buddhist expression too, I think, where like nothing lasts forever,
100%.
Right? And
Second life, I like to call it now.
Yeah,
right. Like I'm in 5 years, I'll be retiring. What are you doing? Second life. You know what I mean?
And you know what's interesting? When again, this deployment in Kuwait, man, so many profound things I've learned. I had a guy educate me. He used to be a sniper with 2 Van Du, and then he's an MP guy now. But he's like, "Oh, look, Manny, like, I'm gonna show you something." And he drew like a triangle on a piece of paper, and he's like, "This is your life." And I'm like, "What do you mean, man?" He's like, "What do you notice about this triangle?" It was like an equal triangle. He's like, right. So equal triangle, all of the angles are equal, right? Each of these angles represents an important part of your life. And I'm like, okay. He's like, you got professional, personal, and social. And you need to respect each one of these prongs as its own element that's equally important to your life. What we do in the military is sometimes, without even knowing, is that we invest so hard into professional that our personal and social gets sucked into it.
100%.
So when we leave, that professional is like a big chunk gone, and you're not even left with the triangle by the end of your career. Right? Like, especially the next day, right? And like that fucks us up. So, I've, thought about this, and I try to tell my guys, and I'm like, hey, listen, man, you need hobbies. You need to have friends. And if you can have some friends that are not in the military, that's healthy too. Because if everything you know and you do is associated to the work, then brother, you're going to have a hard time when you get out. You're going to struggle with this identity.
So I think there's three times, right? So you have work time, you have family time, if you have a family, and you can even say if you don't have kids and a wife, but you still have your parents and stuff. But you have work time, you have family time, you have personal time. So when you're at work time, all your time should be work, right? And then there's a certain amount of time that you have to devote to family. The problem I'm finding with soldiers is they don't understand personal time. My son doesn't understand personal time. I'm like, so if you want a house, okay, so you have a nice house, right? Cutting the lawn is personal time. That's not work. But everybody's like, oh, this weekend I have to do a lot of work around the house. I'm like, it's not work. That's personal time. That's your time that you decided because you want to have a nice house.
Really, it's a task that you have to do, but it's part of your personal life.
That's your personal time.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, but if you end up doing yard work and gardening with your wife, well, now you've combined the two. So now I have personal time with my family. You know what I mean? If I want to get ahead at work and I want to come in and write a paper, that's my time. I didn't do that on work time. That's personal time. So how you balance your different times and what you switch around and move it back and forth, it's your personal time. And guys can't figure that out. And that's what makes the work-life balance, is you cutting up your personal time in order to spend it with family or to do the chores that you have to do, but you can't call it work anymore, or else all you're going to see is like, all I ever do is work. And then the only thing you're going to think you can do with your personal time is lay on the couch and do nothing and smoke pot. I'm like, that's not personal time. That's you. You can do that. That's a good time. Man. Have a great time. But doing the lawn, doing your gardening, washing the dog, walking the dog, that's all personal time because you chose those things in your life. You know what I mean? And guys aren't getting that balance. And then they really need to start figuring out that relationships are hard. All relationships. My relationship with food, tough. My relationship with alcohol, tough. My relationship with my friends, tough. Relationship with my wife, tough. You know what I mean? Like they're all hard. Those are things you have to constantly keep working on all the time. Okay. And you can only do that through communication. Okay. So you have to have communication, and all relationships are hard. Okay. Well, all transitions suck. Okay. So if I have to move, that sucks. Get a new position, new promotion, that sucks. They're all hard. So all your transitions suck. And you always pay for convenience. I want to go to the restaurant, paying for convenience. I want somebody else to do something for me, paying for convenience. And if you can understand those few things in life, well, you get by fucking nice and easy.
Well said.
But the problem is that how do we teach that? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow. This is incredible. This is a great podcast. Like, you were totally the right guy. Oh my God.
Great conversation.
Man, this is why I love doing this, because like you never know, how what the conversations end up being. But there's one more thing like I would like to talk to you about.
Hear that quote first before you move on.
Do you want to?
Yeah,
okay, I was gonna save it for the end, but if you want to hear it right now,
I'll wait for the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll wait for
All right. Absolutely. Well, I do want to talk to you about combatives And for anybody listening here, I'm talking about the military martial arts program that happens here at CFB Petawawa, and that's actually happening now in multiple bases across the country. Can you tell us a little bit about this and like how it started and how you got involved?
I can tell you how I got involved. I don't have the information on all the stuff. If you want to get into that, I can talk to Steve Burgess, who's my professor. He's also a light colonel in the forces, and he can come on here and he can explain everything. But I'll tell you my piece. After I got posted back from Trenton from the jump school.
What year is this?
That would have been 2014, maybe.
Okay.
2014, yeah. I got posted back from the jump school. Steve Burgess had just came to Petawawa. He was actually in Trenton. He got posted back as I got posted down, so I didn't work with him there. He started doing jiu-jitsu here in the back corner. I showed up 2014, back corner DDH, got on the mats and started training with Steve.
Like, how did that even start? You just saw this person that you knew familiar from?
I didn't even know him.
You didn't even know him?
It was just in the back corner of the DDH, and it was.
What was he doing? Was he in a gi?
Yeah, he was in a gi. He was rolling. Ian Carnegie, I think, he was a 3RCR guy. He was like, "Hey, I heard there's guys rolling. Do you want to go try it out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't mind wrestling. I'll do that up." And I truly thought I could beat everybody. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go there. I'll show them how good I am." And I got whipped like a rented mule. I got just handed. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then I got on the mats and started training with the guys and worked through it. And then Steve has been constant pushing forward with the different competitions and getting it into the military. And he's still working. I don't have enough information on that to tell you the truth to explain it on where it is and where it's going.
That's all right.
But we can get Steve in that. But what I ended up doing was in 2021, after COVID, I came back from Jordan. I came back to 3RCR. All the clubs were closed, so I started implementing morning PT in 3RCR for combatives. The CO was
in 2021.
In 2021, the CO was really supportive of that, and I'd been training under Steve for 10 years almost by that point.
Were you now like
6 years, I guess?
So were you like
I was a purple belt? I was a brown belt at that time. I'd already gone to the Worlds as a purple belt and won the Worlds at Vegas. So they were supportive. So then I started implementing it in the mornings, and then I got the brigade on. So now we have morning PT for combatives for jiu-jitsu, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursdays is Muay Thai, which we have crew Ricky who does that. So now it's implemented in, and I think we can push forward. And then I think with Steve, it's through all the bases. I think Petawawa is a little bit behind just because of the amount of tours and stuff. But I do believe that I'm going to try to keep the morning combatives going. I'm going to try to tie it into recruitment, because what I'm going to try to do this year is I'm going to see if I can get the team back up, get the guys out in the morning, get them training to effectively get everybody to want to compete, see if I can get a civilian organization to bring a competition to Petawawa, organize a family day around that, and then have military compete against civilians, so then civilians can see, hey, this is what the military does. This is the different enjoyment and types of activities we do. Plus, if you like doing jiu-jitsu already, we have a program in the Army, and you're now competing against these military members. So if you're looking for a career, you're looking for excitement, plus you want to keep doing the hobby you want, this is it. You know what I mean? That's
a great idea.
Yeah.
And bringing like-minded people together, incredible things happen.
Absolutely.
Incredible things happen. And the work that, yourself, Steve, and all the other people involved, crew Ricky, like incredible work and community service you have done for the active service members, the retired members, the civilians that are in the area. Everyone benefits from this
100%.
Because really it gets such a cliche term, but we are a community, and we'll be the best community we can be if we all just put in a genuine effort.
I wish I could remember the name. Old brigade commander was like the reason he liked paratroopers, and he was a Patricia. Fuck, I can't remember his name, but he's like
Adair.
Might have been Adair. I don't want to say the quote.
No, sorry.
But
go ahead.
It doesn't matter. But probably Adair. He's like the reason he likes paratroopers because jumpers fight, because once you leave the aircraft, you're in. Mm-hmm. You're in. You're not leaving.
Committed.
You're committed, right? So they all fight. So when a jumper jumps, they're in. They can't get back on the fucking plane. They can't run away. You're fucking in.
The line of departure was as soon as the plane took off.
100%, right? So like he's like, jumpers fight. And I really like that idea. And I'm like, but if you really want to know who fights, well, fighters fight. Like if you want your brigade or your battalions or you want them all to be the warrior spirit, and you want them to know that when shit starts going down, they're gonna at least try and fight. Well, then teach them to fucking fight. Get them on the mats. Get them into combatives. Get punched in the face. You know what I mean? Like if you want to find out who's gonna fight, fighters fight.
You know what? You know what's an important thing to say too? It's like it's a diminishing skill.
100%.
Like just because I did CQCI then, or just because I got a belt in this at this time frame and this year in my life,
100%.
like a decade or over a decade ago, doesn't mean I'm still capable or have that capacity still.
No.
Like it's only up here as long as I keep putting in the work.
That's right.
But as soon as I let go and my focus shifts and I get comfortable and then I get complacent, the next thing you know, I'm not as capable.
That's right. I out of all the people that I've been training with over the last 10 years in combatives, none of them get in trouble at the bars.
Nope.
None of them are going out to get in fights because they get beat up all the time. They're like, I'm not going out to get beat up. I'm like, I do that for fun. Like, no, it's good.
Yeah.
And they always walk away. They always try to get away from it. You know what I mean? Like, so if you want to get the discipline into people to understand what they're capable of and not actually take it out on the people when they're in different conditions, get them on the mats.
I think yin and yang,
100%.
being from a fighting unit, there's generally a lot of, pride, ego that gets fostered, rightfully so, right? Because it's very dangerous, high risk work, especially when we're talking about paratroopers. But then when you consider how do you balance that yang, right? It's the humility.
100%.
Like, how do you foster it? You get your ass kicked. You get kicked in the mouth, or you get choked out, you get submitted, especially by somebody who's not a fighting soldier, and they're another kind of soldier, but we're all soldiers.
100%.
But that guy let you know that only one of you two in the room is going to be the last man standing. And it ain't going to be you.
That's right.
Mr. Paratrooper.
Nice wings, butts.
Yeah, man. I fucking reminded yesterday real good for 2 hours. But yin and yang, right? You got to balance the ego, and you know what? Like, there is room for ego. It just has to be put in check, and it's better that you put yourself in check than someone else one day reminding you or putting you in check. And I love it, And sir, I just want to say, I had you here for an hour, I think at least. So thank you so much for taking the time. I really hope you enjoyed your time here and you thought this was worth your time. I see a lot of potential if you would like to come back or even host in the future. This is as good as the people that participate. And I know you made a comment about this, making an opportunity, but really, this is an incredible way for me to have people here to share with our community and anybody else really who's listening. And I want to give you an opportunity to have any kind of final remarks if you'd like to, and then I'll read the quote.
No, listen, if this reaches out to soldiers, like, take care of your boys, be good to them, make good humans, just pick them up. They're going to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody fails. Everybody falls. Pick them up, take care of them, and if you do that, they'll take care of you. You know what I mean? Let them be men. Let them be monkeys. Let them be infantry. Let them be whatever it is that they are, and take care of them and protect them. And then they will fucking 100% do the same for you. 100%.
Pro Patria. Thank you so much for your time, sir. For everybody listening, I'm going to read that quote from Theodore Roosevelt. This is on the plaque that we got from 1RCR after you completed the Iron Warrior. And this is how the quote goes. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause? Who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement? And who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Thank you, everybody, for listening to today's interview. Our guest was MWO Kevin White, a longtime member of 3RCR who's contributed significantly to the Army, to the Infantry Corps, to many, many soldiers at CFB Petawawa and the Canadian Armed Forces. If you guys are interested in learning more or even meeting him, come out to Combatives. The Combatives Club is training right now, summer hours, sir.
100%.
When is that?
So it is 6 o'clock on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6 to 8. Saturdays, 10 o'clock till 12. And if you're in the Army and you want to come out every morning, 7:30 on the mats, you can either do Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu.